Silence is not the absence of power, it is its camouflage. Think about it. In every room, in every meeting, in every conflict, there's always one person whose quiet presence feels heavier than all the noise around them. We sense something deliberate in them, something calculated, and instinctively we give that silence respect. Or fear. This is why the silent ones so often win. Their restraint forces everyone else to reveal their cards first. Those who speak the least often understand the most, because their attention isn't scattered outward, it's drawn inward toward the subtleties that others, in their rush to be heard, completely overlook. They're not just listening to words. They're observing everything else. Consider the legendary strategist of ancient China, Zhuge Liang. When the warlord Liu Bei sought him out, he didn't find a loud general shouting orders or a scheming advisor chasing power. He found a quiet man living in seclusion, tending to his fields. Liu Bei had to make the journey to see him not once, not twice, but 3 times. Each time he was met with calm, composed dialogue from a man who spoke as if every single word had a destiny attached to it. Zhuge Liang's silence wasn't weakness. It was a weapon. While other warlords shouted, threatened, and postured for dominance, he observed. He listened for inconsistencies in their grand speeches. He watched how their arrogance fogged their decisions. And then, when he finally spoke, his few words shifted the balance of power, and entire kingdoms moved. His most famous moment of silent power came during the empty fort strategy. Zhuge Liang was cornered, with his small force facing an overwhelming enemy army led by his rival, Sima Yi. Defeat seemed certain, but instead of preparing for a desperate battle, Zhuge Liang ordered his soldiers to hide. He opened the city gates wide, and he himself sat atop the gate tower, calmly playing a melody on his zither. Imagine the scene from the enemy general's perspective. He arrives with a massive army, ready to crush his opponent, only to find the gates open and his famously cautious rival just sitting there, completely exposed. Sima Yi, knowing Zhuge Liang's reputation as a master of strategy, couldn't comprehend it. He suspected a trap. The silence, the calmness, the sheer audacity of it all was so unsettling that he assumed the ambush must be deadly. He ordered a full retreat. An entire army was defeated without a single arrow being fired, all by the power of silence. This is the core of silent strength. People project their own fears, their own assumptions, and their own insecurities onto the empty space you create. The less you reveal, the more their minds work to fill in the blanks. Your silence becomes a mirror, and in it they see their own doubts magnified. The loud, the reactive, the impulsive, they give away their inner world far too easily. They broadcast their intentions, their weaknesses, their fears, but the quiet individual forces others to negotiate with shadows, and in the human mind, shadows are often far more frightening than the simple truth. The psychology behind this is ancient and deeply ingrained in us. Humans evolved to rely on signals to survive. We interpret tone, facial expressions, and words to gauge danger or safety. When someone remains still, both emotionally and verbally, it deprives our brain of the information it craves, and the brain hates uncertainty. It desperately tries to fill the void, and it usually does so with worst-case scenarios. This is why experienced interrogators often dread the suspect who refuses to speak a word. It's why tyrants fear citizens who remain calm and defiant in the face of threats. It's why manipulators lose all their power when their target gives them absolutely nothing to grab onto. Silence starves the other side. It forces them into a state of discomfort, and it's in that discomfort that they make mistakes and leak their true intentions. So how can you apply this in your own life? It starts with learning to be comfortable with pauses. In a negotiation, after you've made your offer, just stop talking. Let the other person fill the silence. You'll be amazed at what they reveal. In an argument, instead of immediately firing back a retort, take a deep breath. Hold your ground with quiet confidence. Watch how the other person's aggression often deflates when it isn't met with equal force. When someone criticizes you, don't rush to defend yourself. A simple, calm, "I'll think about that" is often more powerful than 100 excuses. This isn't about being passive or letting people walk all over you. It's the opposite. It's about taking control of the situation by controlling yourself first. It's about realizing that true power doesn't always need to announce itself. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. Remember, the world is a noisy place. Everyone is fighting to be heard, but power isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one who doesn't need to raise their voice at all. It's about the deliberate, strategic use of silence. It's a tool, a shield, and a weapon. Master it, and you'll find a strength you never knew you had. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights into strategy and human nature. See you in the next one. Silence grants the most precious strategic advantage, perspective. Noise creates emotional static. It makes people rush decisions, defend fragile egos, or reveal strategies they never meant to expose. The silent person avoids these traps. They learn more than they teach. They watch the power dynamics unfold before investing a single move. They conserve energy while others burn theirs. Over time, this creates an aura of impenetrability. People assume the silent one knows something they don't. And often they're right. The modern world fundamentally misunderstands silence. It confuses talking with influence, visibility with credibility, constant expression with real understanding. But if you look closely, the most dominant negotiators speak the least. The most intimidating leaders rarely need to raise their voices. The most effective strategists reveal nothing until the moment of execution. Silence creates space to think, to anticipate, to let your opponent collapse under the weight of their own noise. The strategic law revealed here is simple. Restraint is power. Silence is leverage. What you withhold has more influence than what you display. People cannot attack what they cannot see. They cannot undermine what they cannot understand. And they cannot prepare for a move you never announce. When you cultivate silence not as fear but as discipline, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is one of the greatest sources of power. So how do you apply this in practical terms? First, speak less in moments of conflict. When you're provoked, delay your response. Take a breath. When others rush to fill the air with explanations, justifications, and nervous chatter, just observe. You will be amazed at what they reveal, their motives, their insecurities, their plans. In group settings, ask precise, targeted questions, but speak sparingly. You will appear wiser, even if you are simply being patient. In negotiations, never rush to break a silence. Let the other person feel the weight of it. More often than not, they will concede more than you ever asked for, just to fill the quiet. And in your personal relationships, silence used thoughtfully not as a punishment, but as a boundary signals incredible self-control. It shows that you are not ruled by your impulses. It communicates that your peace is not for sale. But true silent power requires something deeper than just speaking less. It demands emotional independence. A person who is quiet out of fear radiates weakness, but a person who is quiet out of choice radiates strength. Your silence must come from a place of internal clarity, a deep understanding of your own motives, your own values, and your own strategy. Only then does it become magnetic. In the end, the silent ones win because they are playing a completely different game. While others are busy competing for attention, they are quietly accumulating insight. While others fight desperately to be heard, they ensure that when they do speak, their words carry undeniable weight. And while others expose themselves in the chaos of noise, they move unseen, undetected, and unchallenged until the moment of decisive action. Remember, silence is not emptiness, it is concentration. It is patience sharpened into a formidable strategy. And when used with intention, it becomes one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. The quiet person doesn't dominate a room through volume but through presence. They don't win by overwhelming others, but by allowing others to overwhelm themselves. In a world that is addicted to noise, choosing silence is an act of rebellion, and in that rebellion lies true power, subtle, steady, and ultimately unstoppable.